Good morning, boys and girls. Today we are going to start a new Pinky and Rex. This one is called Pinky and Rex and the New Neighbors. Let's take a look at the chapters. Chapters are called Bad News. Chapter 2, For Sale. Chapter 3, Ollie. Chapter 4, A Teddy Bear and a Trophy. Chapter 5, The Empty House. Chapter 6, Mrs. Morgan's New Home. And Chapter 7, Friends. So let's start with Chapter 1, Bad News. The first Rex heard about it was from her babysitter. Mara was putting fingernail polish on Rex at the time, something Rex allowed only Mara to do because she used cool colors like green and blue and purple. At the moment, Mara was painting Rex's nails with blue and sparkles. Good news about Mrs. Morgan, isn't it? Mara said, referring to Rex's neighbor. There's Mara, a new character, and Rex. What news? Rex asked. Haven't you heard? Mara seemed surprised. She's moving. Now maybe you'll have someone nice next door. Without thinking, Rex twisted her body away to look in the direction of Mrs. Morgan's house. Careful, Mara said. Sorry, said Rex, giving her hand back to the babysitter. I didn't know Mrs. Morgan was moving. Mara studied Rex's face. Aren't you glad, Rex? You look almost sad or something. Rex shrugged. I'm sort of. But why? She's a mean old witch, remember? Rex remembered that a mean old witch was what kids in the neighborhood had once called Mrs. Morgan. It wasn't a nice name, but it fit her. She had been mean, but then she had changed. She had become a special friend to Rex and her best friend, Pinky. So boys and girls, in another book that we haven't read, my students listen to it. It's called Pinky and Rex and the Mean Old Witch. Mrs. Morgan is not very kind to the kids. And they call her Mean Old Witch because whenever their ball falls on her yard, she gets mad at them, she yells at them. But then we find out that she's lonely, that she doesn't have a family. So in the end, Pinky and Rex end up becoming friends with her. And now they don't call her mean old witch anymore. They call her a friend, right? Mrs. Morgan gave them cookies and lemonade on hot days. She gave them cookies and cocoa on cold days. She had shown them old faded photographs of herself when she was their age. And she had given them each a book from her childhood with her name printed inside the front cover in pencil. She's not so bad, Rex said at last. Mara, who had been Rex's babysitter since she was little, shook her head. Rex, that's not what you used to say. I know, said Rex, but I like her now. Mara put the last drop of polish on Rex's nails and closed the bottle. So I guess it isn't good news, she said. No, said Rex. She just couldn't imagine the house next door without Mrs. Morgan in it. Mrs. Morgan makes them cookies, right? Invites them, talks to them. She even saved Pinky, remember? From the bully. Chapter 2, For Sale. Right, when a house is going for sale, they put a little sign like this in front so people know. Pinky couldn't imagine it either. I thought she would always be there, he said to Rex as they played in Rex's backyard. Me too, said Rex. Did you see the sign? Pinky nodded. A for sale sign had gone up in front of Mrs. Morgan's house. I wonder who's going to move in, Rex went on. Maybe they'll have kids, Pinky said. Suddenly he was worried. Rex, we'll still be best friends, right? Of course. Even if a girl moves in next door? Rex gave Pinky a look. Don't be dumb, she said. Well, that would be kind of nice, right? Having more kids on the street to play with them. Pinky smiled. Mrs. Morgan shouted hello from her backyard. Pinky and Rex went running. Minutes later, they were helping her set up her easel. An easel, something that holds the canvas. In Portuguese, we call it a cavalete. And it holds it because painters paint standing up, right? So you put the canvas on the easel and then they paint. So they were helping her set up the easel. I never realized there were so many things in this yard I wanted to paint, Mrs. Morgan said. And now I have so little time to do it. You could come back and visit, said Rex. Mrs. Morgan smiled sweetly at her young friend. I don't think the new people would care to have me roaming around their yard with my paints and easel. Who are the new people? Pinky asked. I have no idea, she replied. No one has been looking at the house yet. See the easel? But someone will buy it, and then it will be theirs. Oh my, she said. It won't be mine anymore. After 37 years, imagine that. Why do you have to move? Pinky asked. I don't, but I want to. Now, don't take it the wrong way. I'm not tired of my neighbors. It's just that when you get to be my age, it becomes harder to take care of a house. And even though I enjoy your company, I don't have many other visitors, just you. And I get lonely. Are you moving far away? Asked Rex, watching Mrs. Morgan begin to squeeze some color from a tube onto her wooden palette. You know that thing that the painters hold and they mix their paints on it? I'm moving into a housing complex for seniors, she said, winking at the kids. That means old folks like me. It's right here in town. I'll have my own apartment so I can still bake cookies when you come to visit. Rex broke into a smile. Neat, she cried. As Mrs. Morgan studied the flowers in her garden, deciding where to begin, she said, I hope you'll visit often. She poked her brush in a dab of bright yellow and began to paint. So we read chapters 1 and 2 of Pinky and Rex and the New Neighbors. And so Mrs. Morgan, it makes sense, right, that she's not going to live in a big house all by herself. She'll go to a senior house. It's like a house that has lots of older people, and they each can have their apartment, and they have games for them, activities, nurses, doctors if they need, right? But family and friends can go and visit. Well, next time we'll find out what happens on chapter 3 called Ollie. Who's Ollie? Who do you predict Ollie is? Bye, kids.